It's Rhonda from JOYjunktique. Thanks for coming back and joining me to finish this project, or at least to work on it today. I want to welcome all my new subscribers and all of those that have already been subscribed. I just thank y'all so much. And I'm just excited to keep working on this project, and I'm having fun with it, and I hope you are too if you have started creating one. It's going to be really cute. And I never know where any of my projects are going to go when I start them, but it's kind of fun just to see how they progress and how they evolve as we keep working on it and just have fun. So I wanted to come back and show you, I had talked about adding some journal pages in it. So we got the basics the other day where we got all of the houses together with the lace. So I started kind of going through my coffee dyed papers and folded them to where they would fit in the smallest section, because the houses aren't all the same exact size. So I kind of picked out, now not the one where the roof was really lower. That one I just decided to do pages that were just straight, so they would fit underneath that roof. But for the ones that were taller, I went with the shortest of the taller as a guide, so that none of the pages would stick up more than what they needed to out of the top. So what I did is I took whichever one was kind of the smallest of the houses, and I used that as a guide. I did the width, I folded up my coffee dyed paper to the width that it needed to be, and I cut that side. And once I got me one that was the perfect size to fit in any of those sections other than the really low one, then I went ahead and would just use it as a guide to cut the rest of them. So you see my roof is not even on this one, and that was because some of the roofs were not square in how they were shaped at the top. They were kind of this little whimsical look. So I just went with that, that would fit the ones that were a little bit odd shaped, and then that way they would fit in any of them. So I just went through and kind of picked out how many pages and which coffee dyed pages I wanted. And on the ones where I used the house shape, I pretty much did them all the same order and everything, just because it was easier for me to remember and make sure that I got the same amount of pages, and just so it kind of be a little bit uniform, something on it would be uniform. Once I got those done and folded, then it was tricky to figure out how to weave them in and out of the lace. What I did, the first one, I just kind of held it in here with my clips, kind of clipped it to this and tried to do the holes, and that was pretty complicated because it just was hard to go through there and make sure you got it in the right spot. So I finally started using my brain and decided just to mark them with a pencil. Where I actually did them on this ribbon, now depending on your ribbon, you'll just have to kind of play with it and see where you want yours to go, if you even want to weave it, that kind of stuff. So what I did is I decided to use put a hole on this loop and this loop as far as in my paper, make the hole to where it would go through this loop and this loop. Skip this one, do this loop, and that way I could weave my thread where I wanted it to go. I decided, once I figured out which holes I wanted to put my thread through, then I went ahead and just penciled on my paper really lightly where those were. And so then I could just take my paper out of there and clamp it together and then punch the holes in, and then come back and start looping it through. And it was so much easier that way than trying to clamp it to my actual book. I saved one section to actually do together. And y'all don't think that I've run off and left you on anything. I just went ahead and played with some of the pages just so we could come back, because I'm kind of a slow crafter and I'm very indecisive. So y'all probably would have been here for 4 hours watching me do some of this stuff. So I just went ahead and kind of played with some of it, and so that it would go quicker when I got on video. But so let's go ahead and work on this. So let me see if I can lay this a little bit flatter. Because once you start getting the pages in, it gets thicker. It gets a little harder to lay it out. And especially now that I've got a little bit of stuff in it. But, so what I did is I took my pages once I got them together, and I kind of got them even. Just kind of make sure that they're like you want them to be. You don't have to clamp them yet. And then I just kind of put it at the corner and lined it up with the bottom, lined it up with the side, and then I went through and just lightly marked at those loops right there. So this one and this one, and then I skipped this one, and then I went to this one and this one. I don't know if you can see that, but I just kind of lightly penciled it on there. Okay, so then once I did that, then I came back, got my pages all lined up, made sure they were even, pretty even. I mean, they're not going to be perfect, and that's fine, but just get them like you want them to be whenever they go in the book. And so I held them stiff, went ahead and clamped them together so they wouldn't move on me when I'm poking holes. Okay, so then I kind of took it like this from the outside. I didn't open it all the way up because then your pages start separating. I don't know, my lighting is not good today, I'm sorry. It's actually nighttime, so I don't have any more sunlight. But this is the only time that it's been quiet in my house for like 2 days, so I'm just gonna have to go with it. I don't know if you can see that. There is the mark. So I'm gonna take and just kind of go through there, and you want to make sure you kind of get in the middle of that crease there. And I'm just going to poke the hole like that. And so then I'm going to go to this one, and I'm going to poke the hole. And then I'm going to flip it around like this. I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And some of them, when I got to the other side, they weren't exactly in the middle, but it didn't hurt a thing. You never even noticed it. So that's what I've got. So I poked those 4 holes. I thought about trying to go through more of the loops on the lace, but I didn't want to just fill this thing full of holes. So 4 kind of was a good number to go with, where I could still run my thread through the loops and it, you know, hold it in place, but not necessarily just be tons of holes in it. I ended up deciding just to use my this whatever you call this. Anyway, I ended up deciding just to use this because I wanted to get it nice and tight. And also, some of my papers in these sections were really thin, and I was afraid if I got thicker ribbon, it would tear my paper up too bad. So I just went ahead with this thread because it looks really vintage. Actually, I got it at an antique store, so there's no telling how old it is. That keeps falling out. So I had better luck just using this. But you could absolutely play around with ribbon, you know, little satin ribbon, or maybe jute, or even sari silk ribbon, or seam binding ribbon, whatever. It just depends on your paper and your ribbon, and, you know, how fragile it is, or the look that you're going for too. I just kind of stuck with this because I wasn't sure that anything I had would make it through these pages without tearing up my book. So I just played it safe this time. Okay, let me see if I can get this threaded with these eyes of mine. Okay. I've got my needle threaded with this thicker, I guess it's, whatever you call this. Anyway. So what I did is I kind of got it, you know, you want to make sure that you're lined up at the bottom to where you're not going to be, you know, hanging out way down here. So whenever you did your marks, then that should still be true to where you're going to be. So what I did is I decided to go through this one, and I'm going to pull my needle all the way through because that was the easier for me. Okay, so I've got my needle all the way through, leave some thread inside, and then so when this is lined up, then I'm just going to take and kind of feed it this way instead of having to weave it in and out from, you know, front to back. I'm just going to go up and down it like this. And then I'll come back through here. Okay, and then I went through here, the same hole that I started in. The only thing tricky about that, of course, is that you don't want to catch your thread as you go back through. So kind of put your thread to one side and kind of pull it tight to where I'm going to hold it from the back and the top, and then that way you can go through it without catching it. I hope y'all can see okay. I'm kind of in a bad spot here. Okay, and it doesn't have to be tight yet because you can come back and fix that in a minute. So then I went back through here and then through this one. At the bottom. And then I turned around and went through the loops from here. Just like that. And then back through this one. I hope y'all can see all that. I know I'm not doing really good with showing it very good. And you can't just pick this book up because it's so big. Let me see if this is better for y'all. Okay, so let's go through this one more time. Let me get that loop out of there. Okay, so I took my needle and I went through this hole and I came out the back, and then I looped it through this little loop, like under it. You know what? I forgot a loop, so I've got to take this out on this side. Let me do that really quick because I don't want to forget that part, because that helps. I had to kind of play with that. That actually helps hold the book in. That lace is kind of loose, so that actually helps hold it in. Okay, so I went through here, out the back, through this loop, like under it, and then under this loop, back through the hole. So here I am on this side, and then I went back through this hole. So that's where we are now. Let me see if I can get this back through. I'm gonna have to cut that end off so I can get it back through my needle. Okay, so here we are. All right, so now what I'm gonna do here that I forgot, we're gonna go through this loop, just that loop, and back through the hole right here. And then we're gonna come through here, go back through this one, and then we're going to loop from the bottom. Okay, and then once we get to here, then we're going to come back through this hole. And y'all, if you're not going to use lace and like the ribbon like this, then you don't even have to worry about this. And I just went through my thread what I just told y'all not to do. Let's see. There we go. If that happens, you can just take it and pull it right back out. But just get it through this side before you do that so that it's easy to get out. Okay. So now that we're here, I'm going to take and pull it tight like that. And then I'm going to look right here, and you want to make sure that this is really tight. So if it's showing it's loose, then you're going to keep pulling it. Okay. So then I'm going to tie a loop. And then I'm going to come back and tie another loop. And it's okay if it feels loose, because I panicked the first time that I ever tied one of these. And then as I pulled on it, it just tightened right up. So see, even though it's loose there, you can keep pulling it. And it pulls that string and tightens it on up. There we have it. And so I'm just going to cut these off with a little bit at the bottom, because what I did on the other, I'll show you in just a second. Let me show you this really quick so I don't forget. So I was just going to show you how that looks. So when you get through, that's what you have. And it would be really pretty with ribbon. And you actually could still kind of weave through here with some ribbon after the fact. And we may play with that later. But for now, I just wanted to make sure my pages stayed in really tight. And I love this thread because it tightens up really good. So there is that. That one bends back that way. Okay. There was something I was fixing to show you. What was that? Oh, what I was going to do with the things that are hanging. And you may have seen this a while ago when I opened this page. But I've been watching, some videos that I watch, and they have the cutest little ideas. And I can't remember who did this, but I'll have to try to find that. But they used like vintage buttons on their little strings inside. So I put one button, but then I had so many little pieces left that I thought I would just take some of my little scraps and fold them over there and glue them to where that could be some of the little ends on my strings. Alright, so let me start back over here and show you some of the stuff I did. And I forgot to show you the other day on the cover that peeping behind this little door was one of the little girls from the kit. She's pretty. But what I did on my cover that I didn't say anything about the other day, and I'm still playing. I may still add something to it here and there. But I just took the big base right here, and I wanted to use this. So I put me some ribbon down between, and then I put me some washi tape here, and then I put that down on top just to add a little dimension to it. And then behind the door, of course, I put the little girl. And I didn't want to just glue the windows just flat. I wanted there to be something about them. So I just decided to rip some little fabric pieces and lay under them before I glued them. I just thought that added a little bit of, I don't know, I just like the shabby look of it. So that's why I did that. And then this was just a little piece of trim I had left. And then I put this little piece of lace here because this was kind of empty on the back and kind of hollowed out, and I wanted it to have something to grab onto when I glued it and not fall off easy. So I put the lace behind there to kind of help adhere it to the paper. And then here I just added another little scrap piece of lace on the opening of the door. this was just a little piece of scrap I had. This was a little piece of a tablecloth, I think. So I just liked not having just the paper windows just glued flat to it. So that's why I used a little bit underneath it. And then this was just a piece of, like, it looks like ceiling tile, and it comes from the Dollar Tree, but the edges of it were really cute. So I just cut me 2 little pieces off of that and used that for the roof. Okay, so as we get in here, I haven't done a whole lot. I've just kind of played late at night whenever I have a little bit of quiet moments. Here I just glued some little scraps that I had used my ink around the edges. And this was just a tiny little piece of that fabric scrap that was left. So I just kind of bunched it up and glued it, made a flower. So I'll add something to that. I'm not sure what yet. Maybe a button or I don't know. I'm going to keep looking. I haven't found exactly what yet. So I told y'all I was kind of indecisive about stuff. So you'll see as you watch me craft. I don't know. I know it when I see it, and until I find that, I just kind of keep playing. This I did just kind of take a scrap piece, and then I wanted to put some netting on there, and I didn't want the staple necessarily just showing up really big, so I had another little scrap. That actually, I left this open so I could stick it down in that little pocket right there. So I'm going to keep playing around with this page. I don't know if I want to add anything else to it or not. I like making them look like little houses for real, you know, like with the doors and the windows, but I also kind of just like the artwork that's on them. So inside the book, I'm not sure that I'm going to do a whole lot to it. Now this page, I loved doing this, and this was actually, I found a wedding dress at a little thrift store I always go to around here, and it was really stained, and a lot of the lace that was hanging off was, you know, kind of messed up, so it didn't make me sad to cut it up. So I cut this off the bottom of the little train in the back, and then let me show you the flower I've just played around with. Let me move this out of the way for a second. So I think I got these at Hobby Lobby or Michael's. I'm not real sure. It was one of those craft stores. So I liked the flower a lot. So I just cut one off, and since this page had the really pretty roses, I put a piece of vellum over that too, so it opens up like that. But since it had those really pretty roses, and then I put just a little piece down here for the vellum to kind of tuck back in. I'll fix it in a minute. But since it had those really pretty roses down there, I thought it'd be pretty to put a rose at the top with that lace. So I had these, but the color was too peachy to me. Let me move these out of the way. I'm going to show you those in a minute too. So what I did is just kind of played around with it, but I had this Victorian velvet, and it was kind of closer to the pink color I wanted. So what I just kind of did it like this, and it's kind of messy. Can you see that? But then I took, and I wanted it to look aged. So I have this spray bottle that I just love. It makes it like a mist, and it's probably fixing to go everywhere. But anyway, so once I inked it, then I just turned around and misted it. Oops, see, there I went. And then I just kind of took a paper towel and just kind of smudged the ink around. And so I just kept kind of doing that till I got it where I wanted it. I took some more ink, just kind of daubed it back on there on the spots that it needed it. Like if there's none in certain spots, then I go back. And so I would just kind of went back and just dyed it. I basically just kind of made it my own color. Let me see if this light can pull in a little bit so you can see. So there's that. And I didn't quite get it as good as I need to, but you get the idea. So that's what I did for that flower. And I think it turned out pretty, kind of old and aged and distressed looking. So that's all I did to get this look of this flower. So those inks come in handy. Okay, I was telling you about the vellum. This vellum actually has like a key pattern on it. Can you see it? Yeah, okay, good deal. So I just wanted to use it in the house, of course, because there's keys on it. And so I cut a piece to fit and inked it, of course, around the edges to distress it. And just barely, I put a little fold here at the top of it and then just glued that down. And so I didn't want it to just stick out where it might tear if it got caught on something. So I just made this tiny little tuck spot for it to go down in. And that way, you know, you can lift it up, you could slide something behind it, but it just kind of adds another element to that. So that's all I did on that one. And so then here, see, these are those other little pages. I needed them shorter to fit under this roof. So I just kind of gathered up cardstock, and like this is just some paper that I wadded up before I coffee dyed it. And so the coffee got all into the cracks and the wrinkles, and I just loved it. And so I just added one of those just for some texture. And then I just added just old aged papers I had from receipt books and just, you know, just whatever I had. So I did the same thing to bind it here. It works for all the sections. And then this one, I was just playing around because I had some old tea bags. So I just tore a piece and stuck it there. And I had this little ripped piece, and I stuck it there. So I was going to put something behind there just to kind of tuck in there, because that's basically what I was doing it for. And so, you know, as I played around the other day, I went ahead and inked up all the little pieces that I liked and just had them on hand so that, you know, they would inspire me on certain pages. So I have this one, and it'll just give you an idea. Whether or not that stays there, we'll see, but that gives you an idea of what it'll look like there. I'm still not sure. Like, I'll come back as I play with it, and, you know, I may find a piece of lace or something that I want to stick there just to dress it up, or, you know, just cutesy little things that as you go through and as you kind of notice different things about it, then it'll spark something for you to put something else there. Okay, so we've got this little section. And then here, this one, I had a little piece of vellum, not vellum, but embossed paper that was just tore off of something. It wasn't much of it, so I wanted to add it to the bottom. And this is one of the little houses, so I had a piece of vellum that was embossed with flowers. Can you see that? And so I put a piece of the top and a piece of the bottom. And then this little strip that had stamps on it, because behind here there was a stamp. And so I played with this right before I got on a while ago just to see if this tape would even work. And I was going to show you that too, because I went to Hobby Lobby today and I found some clearance stuff, and so I thought I would show you what this was. It's called artist tape, and I've never seen this before, but I got a really good price on it. And so I just took a piece of it, trying it earlier because I wasn't sure if it would work or not, but it did. And so I just taped that to the bottom so it would be a flip down, and that way it all kind of is the same theme on this one. And then here's some of those little pieces I was telling you I had just gone ahead and inked up, kind of got ready for wherever, and I had just stuck them in here so I wouldn't forget about them. But I'm thinking that I might put the tiny hole in a little pin there with a little scrap piece of fabric and just maybe keep it there since it looks cute there. I kind of like how it looks there. I just stuck it there the other night, but I honestly think I like it there. It's just super simple, and most of this is just stuff, I mean, it's all stuff that I've just cut from the pieces in the kit and be really cute. So we'll come back to that in a minute. Okay, this one, this is just one of the, I had so many of the smaller size houses already cut out when I had first printed off this kit. So I wanted to kind of use those throughout, and I don't know if have I already used any of them other than this one. No. Okay, so this one I thought would be pretty here, and I made it, I put what I did. Okay, so I had a little strip of just scrap left, and I found a back that I liked that would add some color in it. So when I glued these two together, I just put this little strip inside in the middle so I folded the little strip, and then I put the other half glued inside whenever I glued these two together. And so that way it's a real good sturdy flip, and it won't tear. And then this was a scrap, and I just put it on the side. And here's another little girl from the kit, and I thought she looked cute there. So I'm still thinking on this. I don't know. And if y'all have any ideas, then just shoot them in the comments, because I would love to hear them. And so here's another section, and I'll have to go get like all the little buttons and beads or whatever that I want to use in here. I'll cut some more little scraps too and get them ready, and we'll do that maybe in the next video. But so here's another one that I just stuck here just because there was a tuck already there. I haven't done anything to this except glue this one little piece here, and so I'm still thinking on all of that. But I like this one here, and I thought, okay, this is what I was going to show you. I had found these little, I think in Hobby Lobby too, on the seasonal stuff, and the little boxes of little crafts like for kids and stuff. But I had bought these because I love the little birds, and so I thought, I wish I could put a little bird on there, because we have, you know, like we have birds that live here. And so I just thought it'd be cute to put a little bird with a house. So what I did here, I just took the little wood shape, and I traced around it, and, you know, traced everything where I needed to be cut out, and just trimmed it with my little scissors and inked the back just so it wouldn't be plain. And just stuck a little pin through there, a little piece of crochet lace. And so I thought here I would do a little hole at the top and hang the little birdie there. But I still have a lot of work to do. I got a lot of thinking. I just need time to sit here and play for a while. And so here, this is actually in the little ephemera kit. I mean, the little page that comes with the kit, and it's like to add, you know, to the houses, the doors or whatever. But I just liked how it looked all in one piece, so I just cut it out like this and inked it and glued the edges so I could have a little tuck spot here. At the top I put a little piece of just lace. I had lace flower, and then one of the little windows there. Like I said, I'm just kind of playing around with it because I don't really know what I want where yet. But as I start gluing little things here and there, then it kind of gives me other ideas, and I just kind of fill in the blanks. So, but this I had made, it's just all my little scrap pieces of coffee dyed paper. And so I had stapled it with this vellum at the top, this embossed vellum. And I had another little scrap piece, so I just stuck that over the top with glue so that the staples wouldn't get hung up on anything. So there's that. And I just tucked that in the back. And then this I just kind of tucked in the pocket until I figure out what I want to do with that. Because I want to use these little houses. They're so cute, and they would be cute used in the house book. That's my plan. So from the back side, of course, we just did this section, and I didn't do anything to this because it would make it harder to put the pages in. So I made sure I got all the other pages sewn in before I started decorating, because the more stuff you have in it, the harder it's going to be to sew the pages in. So do that first. And then this one, so far, I've just added a little piece of just scrap lace to the top. I just thought it was really pretty. Oh, and what else I'm going to add there, this little thing came off of a scarf. I just cut it off the edge of it and thought I would add that there. Be really cute. I like it, it's pretty. So I'm gonna figure out whatever else on here. Keep going. So I just stuck this in here. I was thinking about making another flip out here because this is a postcard and this is writing. This is a postcard. So I thought maybe, and I forgot to glue my little piece of my little piece of cardstock for flip out right there before I glued them together. Maybe I'll use that tape on this too. I think I will actually, because you know why? The tape is kind of see-through when you put it down, and that way you'll still be able to see this. So I'm gonna do that real quick. So I'm just gonna take this tape, this artist tape. I feel like a professional using artist tape. That's pretty cool. Just gonna put it down on here. Oops, you know what? Is that right? Yeah, it'll be right. Okay. I was afraid I had put it on the wrong side. I'm not very organized today. I've been gone all day and came in a mad rush and tried to cook and tend to animals and still kind of trying to get myself together this evening. So I think I'm going to take it off the bottom just a little bit, raise it up, just line it up on there. Oops, got a little wrinkle in it. And there we go. See, now you can still see. You can still see through it. So, I kind of like that tape. I think it's going to hold pretty good. The other one did. So then, I'm going to adjust that just a little bit. I got a little crooked. But I like that. Okay. So I think that'll work. So there's another flip out. It's gonna be cute. Okay. Alrighty. So here's another same little booklet. And then we have this page. I had some pieces already. Like, I had these layaway tickets. Now, these were just mine. This didn't come in the kit. These came in the kit, but not the layaway ticket. So, the layaway ticket flipped up like this and had a bottom. So, I just flipped the top down. Or the bottom up, something. Anyway, and made it like a little double pocket here. So, when you glue it down, it'll be a pocket here and a pocket here. I'm not sure that's the page. I don't know where I wanted it. I don't know if I like it there. I think I like it over here better. Yeah, I think right there will look better. Let me just go ahead and glue that down. So I'm just going to take and glue along the edge. As close to that edge as I can, because I'm going to need all the space I can get. My dogs heard something. They're wanting to bark, and I'm not wanting them to. Okay, so I've got it ready to glue. I'm going to try to get it under here without smearing my glue everywhere. Just barely tuck it underneath that little edge. Like that. Because I left a tiny bit hanging out. And then just make sure it sticks good. And that was just tacky glue. I wanted, oops, see, I pulled it off. Let me see if I can fold this out a little bit and let it lay flat. And that helps too. Like if you can lay your book out as flat as you can when you're working on different pages, and that way you can kind of hold them tight until they start catching onto it. So just kind of open your book up on those pages and it helps a lot. So then, I think these are cute right here. Just leave them in this little pocket. And then, now this I made before I ever bought this kit. Oops, I got a little clip stuck on it. I was watching Heather at Ruby and Pearl XO, and she did, showed how to make these. And so I had made this before I ever bought this kit. But it was so fun. So when I saw this kit, of course I had to have it. But this was one that I had made before, so I thought I would just see if it will sit in this little pocket. I don't want to unglue it, but I think it's going to work right there. So that page is probably all I'm going to do to that, unless I just like, add something to my tags. That'll probably be all I do to that, unless maybe something here. But I kind of like how that one looks. Okay, so let me see if I can fold this back up. And so this section I haven't looked at. I had just laid some stuff in here while I was working on it, and I don't even know what's in here anymore. So there's another little house. And I may could make it a little flip out too. Now I don't have anything glued to the back of it. So I'll have to glue something to the back of that one. But let's just play for a second and see what we can come up with. This I had just cut for some reason. I don't know what was on this side, or if it was on this side that I cut off of, but you have a piece of a lady here, but I still think it's really cool. So I may just glue that there as a little tuck on this little house, and then that would still leave me room to put a little piece up here, looking all cute, something like that. And then this is just a little piece of ephemera that might be cute in there. But see, that's my process. Just stick it on there and see what it looks like. And if you like it, glue it. If not, go back to the drawing board. Go back to your little pile of scraps and start digging again. But yeah, it's fun just to play with these little pieces. And so I'll have to work on this one and put a back on it, and then I'll probably make it a flip out too. Something else I wanted to show you, I don't know if y'all liked those little doorknobs that I showed you, but this is what they look like at Hobby Lobby. There's 2 to a pack, and the little keys are in there somewhere underneath. There we go. So it's Mayberry Street Miniatures. I thought they were so cute. So just so you know where you can get those, from Hobby Lobby. And you may can order them too. I'm sure you probably could. I'm trying to see. I have some scraps from her kit in here. These I've already inked. That's why they're separate. Those are some that I kind of for sure wanted to use somewhere. So I already have all those inked up and I'm ready to go. These are just the other pieces. On the back of this, I guess this is really all I have left of these little ones I had cut out. I think the roof on these two is going to match up better. They're close. So I'm going to go ahead and glue those really quick. I figure my phone is going to be ringing anytime with my husband saying he's on his way home from work. So I got to work quick. But I hope this gives you some ideas and kind of helps, you know, kind of see the process of my crazy brain. But it's just, you know, I just take it one step at a time. And sometimes if I get bored with one thing, like I just can't figure it out, then I just put it to the side and go to something else. Go to another page and start on it, because sometimes it just doesn't happen. That's okay. Then when I come back to it, I have fresh new ideas. So don't get frustrated, just move on to something else. So I'm just kind of lining these up the best I can, so I won't have to trim off any more than I have to. And I should not have put glue up there, but that's okay. I just don't want to get it all over my scissors. So I'm just going to trim that edge right along there. And then on the back side, I have to do the same thing. And it would help if I got that piece off first, huh? Okay, so that's pretty good. And then I'll just get my little inker over here. And when I ink, I like to use the walnut stain, that color. I use it for almost everything. I don't know why, I like it best as far as making things stand out and look that vintage look. But I mean, if I didn't have the walnut stain, I'd use something else. So I mean, it's just because I have it and I like it. But if I didn't have it, I would just use whatever I had. So I just ink up this side really quick. Like that. Make sure it's glued really good together. Oh, I missed an edge, didn't I? Because once I cut it, I forgot to go back. Okay, I think that's all of them. Let me go ahead and put her on this edge, because if I don't just do it, then I'm going to sit here and overthink it. My husband always says, don't overthink it. And I tend to do that a lot. Because I'm too much of a perfectionist when it comes to certain things. Some stuff, it doesn't bother me a bit. But other stuff, it's like, nope, it's got to be perfect. I think I'm just going to leave a teensy bit of that little edge so that it kind of stands out a little bit better. Because if I put it right up against the edge, it's not as well defined. But that kind of makes the lady stand out just a little better. Okay. And then do I want that piece? Maybe I'll use the pink since it's got pink on that page, huh? I just have to trim the corners. Okay, let's do that. I always get out of frame, I'm sorry. Just trying to. Alright. So I'm going to put this down at the top. Like that. And so I'll just trim these little edges. I've still got paper on my scissors, y'all. It doesn't want to leave. And then come back and just ink those little spots that you cut off so that it defines it more. And then I'll just kind of, for now, I'll just kind of stick this in here like that. And that looks cute. And it'll be a fold out. I might should have used the other side on the front, but it's done. Or we could do it like that and let it be a surprise when you open it. That might be cute. I kind of think I like it like that. I'm going to do that. I'm just going to stick to what I started. Aren't y'all proud of me? I actually made a decision. Okay, so take my artist tape. Let me trim this little end here. And I'm actually going to peel that back a little bit and shorten it. Okay. So let me see if I can get this even. Get back down here where y'all can see. Okay. This big book is too big for me to do this right this second. Okay, let's do that. It's a little tricky once it's this full. Let me do this. That might be easier. Yep, I think that's going to be easier. And then once I flip it over, then I can kind of straighten it out if I have to. There we go. Got a little fuzzy on it. Okay. What do y'all think about that? I think that's gonna work. Y'all got a messier. I'm sorry. I'm like a messy crafter today. I'm a messy crafter all the time, but I try to hide it when I'm on here the best I can. But, alright, so let's fold this back up. My little bow keeps getting smushed. Oh, and I forgot to say, okay, so I showed you how I did these, where I went in from this side and weaved it back and forth. But what I did on the front one, so that the little ribbon could come out of this one, I wanted the ribbon to be on the outside of this one. So what I did on that one is I actually started from this side. So I went through the loop to the inside and came out, wove it back under, and so I just did the opposite of what I did on the inside. But you don't have to do that. I was just trying it to see how the ribbon looked on the outside, how the thread would look on the outside. So that's what I did with that one. It's just weaving it through the opposite. You start from this side and do exactly the opposite, back and forth. So, and then your thread ends up out here. That's it. That is all I did. So I just want to thank y'all for putting up with me today. I'm a little tired and a little giddy, but I've enjoyed being here with y'all and I've had a lot of fun. Well, y'all, that's all I have for today, I guess. Y'all just go dig through all your little stash and bring your scraps and your little pieces of lace and ribbon or doilies, whatever inspires you, and meet me back here on the next video. Y'all take care and know that I love you and I appreciate you, and I'll see you next time. God bless.